Books Instead of My Name presents summary and analysis of the poem Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. English Victorian poet Matthew Arnold's most famous poem, Dover Beach, is a dramatic monologue where the poet expresses his frustration and hopelessness of the modern chaotic world. He also expresses his view that this kind of situation, where there is neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain, has been created by the decline of faith, religious faith to be precise. The poem begins with a straightforward description of nature and the speaker calling his beloved to see the beautiful sea and to hear the sound of the waves. The setting is inside a room, maybe a hotel, on the coast of the English Channel near the English town Dover. The speaker and his beloved are looking outside their window at the French coast across the sea. So, at the beginning, it would seem to be a love poem or even a sonnet, as the first stanza consists of 40 lines like a sonnet, with a change of tone at the ninth line as it should be the case for a sonnet. But obviously, the rhyme scheme does not comply. It is only in the 14th line of the poem that the readers are introduced to some serious thoughts with the eternal note of sadness. The unpleasant roar of the waves bring a sense of melancholy to the speaker's mind. In the second stanza, the speaker is reminded of the ancient Greek playwright Sophocles, who also heard the sounds of Aegean Sea and then wrote tragedies on human misery. In the next stanza, the speaker laments the lack of faith in modern society. Here, he compares faith with the receding tides. In the last stanza of the Dover Beach, the speaker urges his lady love to be true to one another, as the new world that seems to be so beautiful apparently does not evoke much hope for him. To talk about the stylistic aspects of the poem, the lines are mostly rhyming. The poem consists of 37 lines and is divided into 4 unequal stanzas. Use of enjambment gives the poem faster pace. First stanza. The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits. It is night. The calm and quiet sea is filled with water at the time of high tide. The moon is shining brightly upon the narrow English Channel. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Our speaker is staring at the French coast some 20 miles away on the other side of the channel. He sees the light on the French coast gleaming. And now, as the light has gone off, he concentrates on the English shore instead. The famous cliffs of Dover stand tall with their large wavering reflection on the quiet sea. Come to the window, sweet is the night air, only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-bleached land. The speaker asks his mistress to come to the window to enjoy the sweet night air coming from where the sea meets the moonlit land of France. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand. He now asks her to listen to the continuous and irritating sound of the pebbles drawn by the waves. The waves are drawing the stones backward to the sea and then again throwing them back onto high shore on their return journey. Begin and cease and then again begin with a tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. The sound of the waves begins and stops and again begins. The trembling rhythm continues slowly, but now it brings the eternal note of sadness. The monotonous rhythm of the waves makes the speaker depressed. The tone of the poem now changes from cheerful to melancholy. Second stanza. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The speaker is now reminded that Sophocles also heard the same sound sitting on the shore of the Aegean Sea, that brought to his mind the picture of human sufferings like muddy water going in and out. Our speaker has also found a feeling of sadness hearing similar sound beside the northern sea, far away from Sophocles' Aegean Sea. Third stanza. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and the round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. Human faith, the religious faith, and the faith in fellow people once covered the earth like sea water. It was at its fullest as the tide is now. Faith covered the earth like the folds of bright girdle, folding well. The comparison suggests that it was not loose, but tightly attached to this world. It was the time when faith made everything easy and solved many problems, made people united, and brought meaning to life. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. The speaker regrets that those days are now past. Faith is fading away from the society just like the waves is from the shore. Now he only hears the sorrowful roar of the retreating steps of faith with the receding tide. It only leaves behind the chill night wind whistling over the desolate beach with dull edges of the cliffs and raw pebbles. The poet here creates a fearful picture of the underlying nakedness of the colorful modern world. Fourth stanza. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. The desolate speaker now again turns to his beloved and urges her to be faithful to each other. The dreamy world, which seems so beautiful with its varieties, is not really a source of joy, love, light, certainty, peace, or help for pain for the speaker. This chaotic artificial world does not induce much hope for him. And we are here, as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and fight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Now the speaker compares this world to a dark place where we are completely unaware of what we are doing. We are in a confused struggle, as if ignorant soldiers are fighting with each other in the darkness. This is Matthew Arnold's assessment of the morally corrupted modern world full of vanity. Arguably, Matthew Arnold's most famous poem, Dover Beach, manages to comment on his most recurring themes despite its relatively short length. Its message, like that of many other of his poems, is that the world's mystery has declined in the face of modernity. However, that decline is here painted as particularly uncertain, dark, and volatile. What also makes the poem particularly powerful is that his romantic streak has almost no tinge of the religious. Instead, he speaks of the sea of faith without linking it to any deity or heaven. This faith has a definite humanist tinge. It seems to have once guided decisions and smoothed over the world's problems, tying everyone together in a meaningful way. It is no accident that the site inspiring such reflection is that of untouched nature, almost entirely absent from any human involvement. In fact, the speaker's true reflection begins once the only sign of life, the light over in France, extinguishes. What Arnold is expressing is an innate quality, a natural drive towards beauty. He explores this contradiction through what is possibly the poem's most famous stanza, that which compares his experience to that of Sophocles. The comparison could be trite if the point were merely that someone long before had appreciated the same type of beauty that he does. However, it is poignant because it reveals a darker potential in the beautiful. What natural beauty reminds us of is human misery, because we can recognize the beauty in nature, but we can never quite transcend our limited natures to reach it. We might be drawn to lament as well as celebrate it. The two responses are not mutually exclusive. This contradictory feeling is explored in many of the Arnold's poems. The Scholar Gypsy and A Dreamer are two examples, and he shows in other poems an instinct towards the tragic, the human inability to transcend our weakness. Thus, the allusion of Socrates, a Greek playwright, celebrates for his tragedies is particularly apt. Such a dual experience between celebration of and lament for humanity is particularly possible for Arnold, since mankind has traded faith for science following the publication of On the Origin of Species and the rise of Darwinism. Ironically, the tumult of nature out on the ocean is nothing compared to the tumult of this new way of life. It is this latter tumult that frightens the speaker, that has him beg his lover to stay true to him. He worries that the chaos of the modern world will be too great and that she will be shocked to discover that even in the presence of great beauty like that outside their window, mankind is gearing up for destruction. Behind even the appearance of faith is a new order, and he hopes that they might use this moment to keep them together despite such uncertainty. The poem epitomes a certain type of poetic experience in which the poet focuses on a single moment in order to discover profound depths. Here, the moment is a visceral serenity the speaker feels in studying the landscape and the contradictory fear that the serenity then leads him to feel. To accomplish that end, the poem uses a lot of imagery and sensory information. It begins with mostly visual depictions describing the calm sea, the fair moon, and the light in France across the channel. The cliffs of England stand or glimmering and vast. Not only describes the scene but establishes how small the two humans detailed in the poem are in the face of the nature. Perhaps most interestingly, the first stanza switches from visual to auditory descriptions, including the grating roar and the tremulous cadence slow. The evocation of several senses fills out the experience more and creates the sense of an overwhelming and all-encompassing moment. The poem also employs a lot of enjambment. The effect is to give the poem a faster pace. The information hits us in rapid succession, forming a clear picture in our minds little by little. It also suggests that Arnold does not wish to create a pretty picture meant for reflection. Instead, the beautiful sight is significant because of fear and anxiety it inspires in the speaker. Because the poem so wonderfully straddles the line between poetic reflection and desperate uncertainty, it has remained a well-loved piece throughout the centuries.